Welcome everyone out to West Lawrence High School. We're here for a very special event. We're here with our good friend, and many of you know him from the community, Jay Studstill. Jay, not your first time on here with us on TV 35, but it's always good to see you. You're a very busy person, and you have a great event that we understand is going on here today, Georgia Power, bringing some information to not only our local educational staff, but throughout the region, right?
That is correct, Ron. Today is the day that we bring in teachers and we spend time with the teachers talking to them about Learning Power. Learning Power was a program that was established several years ago by the president of Georgia Power, Paul Bowers. What Paul wanted to do was to take these coordinators and let them go into the school systems and work with the teachers so that the teachers would learn more about how electricity works, what energy conservation is all about, how they could then talk with the students and help those students understand. Today's seminar is a pilot. It's one that we've established for the south part of Georgia, and we'll have teachers from all over the general region to come in here today, and we're going to show them some of the programs, some of the things that Georgia Power Company can offer to them about learning about electricity.
Mm-hmm. So the power of electricity, you want to teach them the different ways that we gain power.
That's correct.
How to control it. Also, will you be experiencing or will you be showing them anything to do with the growth of Georgia Power, the development opportunities for students?
Yes, we sure will. Under our whole objective is not only to educate about electricity, but it's also to help the students understand what careers that are available in the electric utility business, because it's vast. Not only can a student work in a nuclear plant, they can work over in a hydro plant, they can work in the solar industry. And there's so many opportunities and so many windows that they can go into. Paul, our president, he saw that we really needed to get out and share our message, but for the most part, really help the students understand what kind of decisions they can make and where they can go into the future with careers. And most of the time, the students are very intrigued by what they get from our coordinators because they're so knowledgeable. We hire some former teachers, some of the ones that have been science teachers before, from around the state to work with us. And then we integrate them with employees that have worked with us for so many years. So that is a wonderful meshing of knowledge that we're transferring to the teachers and then to the students.
Yeah, when we look at Georgia Power, I think that Georgia Power is one of the companies that thinks the old term outside of the box.
We try. We try hard to think about what the future will be. If you think about the electricity in any location, but particularly in the state of Georgia, it's the lifeblood of our economy. Mm-hmm. When industries come to our location, they're looking for a quality, reliable source of energy. And electricity is one facet of that. And it's very important to be able to have what these industry people are looking for, which translates into jobs. And a lot of technology jobs. It could be jobs that are I don't know, it could be something in welding or wherever it may be. Those are jobs that they can actually get, and we try hard to help with that.
Jay, I wonder if most people realize that Georgia Power is the largest provider of power in the state.
I do not know, but I can share with you, we have a little over 2.5 million customers, and we serve the vast majority of the industrial load around the state and commercial load. And it's something that we have a vast majority of our residential customers. And here again, if we as a company spend more time helping in our communities and helping people understand how our communities and our counties and all of our places operate, it helps the growth of our utility.
About how many people do you have here with Georgia Power today to help with this event?
Well, I would like to ask that Bill Glisson, who is with us, to share some information with you on that, because I think he has the statistics. Right. Bill lives here in Lawrence County. He is a supervisor. We're very blessed to have him. He's been here several years, and his wife Betsy is also involved in the school system. So at this time, I'd like to let Bill share some things with you.
Okay, Jay Studstill, everyone. Thank you, Jay.
Thank you, Ron.
Now, everyone, here is Bill Glisson. He is an educational supervisor, so you're responsible for putting on this event today.
I am, along with 16 great coordinators.
All right. So you're bringing them in from around the state, Bill?
We have 16 coordinators around different areas of the state. My particular area is the central part of Georgia, which encompasses Lawrence and the city of Dublin.
Well, tell us about yourself. Tell us about you and your family here.
I have a wife, Betsy, and she actually works as a contractor for Lawrence County Board of Education. She manages the L4GA grant. She's a recent retired educator. My daughter teaches at Northwest Lawrence Elementary, Macy Pearson. Very proud of her.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you. And I have a son who works in Texas that manages Leona River Ranch.
All right. And so tell us about yourself and what you do here in our community and about this effort.
Well, again, my title is Education Supervisor. I do what our coordinators also do in the classroom. We go in and teach STEM-based lessons. The lessons tie back to our core of business and what we do every day in the electrical industry, but we also teach standard-based lessons, things like physical science, economics, environmental science, and we are now focusing on high school. What we realized is that our high school teachers around the state did not realize what resources were available to them. So this gives us an opportunity to market our program to them so they'll be aware of the resources that are available to them.
So let's expand on that just a moment, Bill. What resources are available? You're saying that you actually have educational staff that come into the schools and help the...
Absolutely. We have what we call an in-class field trip where we bring all the resources into the classroom for the day and we're actually the teacher for that day.
All right. So how does one get in touch with you if someone's out there in the educational system and may not be here today?
You can go to our website, learningpower.org, and we have a map on there that you can click on the map and it will bring up that coordinator's name with email and phone number that they can contact them directly.
About how many people do you expect today to come in?
Approximately 85 educators from different areas of the state.
All right. And what's the end goal today? What do you hope to accomplish, Bill?
Awareness, so they understand that we're available to help them in the classroom. And it gives us an opportunity to touch the children in the classroom or the young adults in the classroom to make them aware of the available careers in our industry.
Bill, anything I've ever been a part of that Georgia Power has, it's a pretty good pace of things. You go through a day and you're not standing around or sitting around very much. You're getting a lot of information as you go.
Right.
What's the layout of today?
Today we'll have just a kickoff basically where we will talk about learning power, an overview. We'll have a panel discussion on careers of the future where we'll have panelists from the economic development community, also from industry coming in today, and from Georgia Power Company that is going to discuss careers of the future. Then we will have 3 breakout sessions for physical science, environmental science, and economics.
All right. Looks like a fun and fulfilling day for these educators who are coming in here. I'm sure they'll be able to take a lot of information back to their units.
Absolutely. We're looking forward to everyone's participation and hopefully they'll find some value in this.
All right, Bill. Thank you.
Thank
Bill
you.
Glisson, everyone.
Hi, I'm Jeff Cannon, President of Citizens Bank of Lawrence County. If you're presently a customer of ours, we'd like to take this opportunity to thank you for allowing us to be your bank. We appreciate the confidence you have placed in us and enjoy providing you with the most up-to-date banking products and services to satisfy your needs. If you're not a current customer, we would like to invite you to stop by and let us show you true community banking at its best. We concentrate on our local community, doing our part to make Dublin and Lawrence County a better place to live, work, play, and retire. We recently introduced 2 new products, eStatements and Access Now, our mobile banking app. Both of these products will help to make banking with us more convenient and will also help to provide you with a safer and more secure banking experience. So for all your banking needs, just give us a call or stop by and let us show you personal banking at its best. Citizens Bank of Lawrence County, member FDIC, and an equal housing lender.
Hi, I'm Perry Williamson. We've been serving the Dublin and Lawrence community for over 90 years here at Williamson's Bakery. We specialize in donuts, cakes, pies, cupcakes, cookies, birthday cakes. They're our business, not a hobby. And don't forget our large selection of cheese straws. For special orders, contact us on Facebook, Instagram, or better yet, just come get you some. When you stop by, be sure to try our all-new Pig in the Blankets. We have bacon, sausage, and chicken. We're located at 1634 Veterans Boulevard, Dublin, Georgia. For the hot, freshest donuts, come to Williamson's Bakery. We proudly support our area athletics.
Well, good morning. My name is Joseph Lillywhite. I'm the Education and Workforce Development Manager here at Georgia Power, and I want to thank you for joining us today with our session, Power Your Learning with Learning Power. We first want to thank the folks who really orchestrated this. And so any of the folks in the white Georgia Power shirts, if you don't mind standing up for me. That would be you. Let's take a quick thank you for those folks. A lot of work to be able to orchestrate this and put this on, and a special thanks to Bill for taking the lead on this program. So I wanted to start because I don't want to forget to do that. It's important that we thank them. We're going to start today's activity with the panel discussion. These are some industry experts that really, we want to have a dialogue around the workforce of the future. Our goal is not to predict what the future looks like. What we want to do is have dialogue so we're prepared for the future when it gets here. Because as we know, we can't change the dial on workforce development overnight. We can't change what's going on with the workforce overnight. So we want to make sure that we're having some conversations and really want to have an interactive dialogue. So this will be a participation part of the day. And we want to make sure that we're taking advantage of the industry expertise that my panelists have, bringing their information and their insights and their information to the table. So if you're not living in the economic development role, you may not understand that Georgia has actually been named for 6 years in a row the best place to do business. What do you think drives that factor? This is participation. So Georgia has been awarded, basically recognized as the best state to do business for 6 years in a row. What do you think is the driving factor of that? Taxes? Low taxes? Tax incentives? Right to work state? Increased population, resources, cost of living. All of those are important, but could businesses move to Georgia if we didn't have a workforce? Where does workforce get started? In your classrooms, right? So we want to have a dialogue around what that looks like and how we can support so Georgia can continue to be the best state to do business. Because when we're increasing our business, what does that mean? Economic growth for the state. That's what we're looking to be able to enhance. So at this time, I'd like to introduce my 4 panelists, if you don't mind joining us at the front. And we will get started with a discussion. So joining us today is Jennifer Crutchfield. She is the Human Resources Manager at Erdich, USA. Mickey Daniel is the Community Development Manager at Georgia Power. Kim David, the Vice President of Economic Development at Coney Fall Line Technical College. And Ryan Waldrop, the Senior Project Manager for Region 9 at the Georgia Department of Education. Department of Economic Development. Clearly my brain's not on straight today. So welcome to the 4 of you. We appreciate you to bring your perspectives and dialogue and have a candid conversation with the group today because we really want this to be a partnership and ensure that we're really sharing some useful information. And we also want your feedback, so we're going to have some time at the end to be able to have some dialogue and answer questions that you might have. So just to get people started and understand kind of the perspective that you're bringing, go ahead and, if you don't mind, we'll start with Mickey and just work our way down the line. Give a brief introduction of yourself.
Well, my background is actually education. So I have a master's in education and a bachelor's in education, and I was a classroom teacher for 17 years. There we go. I was a classroom teacher for 17 years before I transitioned to Georgia Power and worked through their education team, where Joseph is team, and moved to community and economic development. One of the perspectives I think I bring is I understand what you guys do every day. I understand the value that you have. But I also, working in my role in community development, realize how siloed we are in our communities. You guys are siloed, industry's siloed, your partners are siloed, because we're all doing our job every day, but we don't know what our other partners are doing to build a workforce. So being able to build that bridge and gap, or figure out what those gaps are, is key to what I do every day.
Good morning. My name is Kim David, and I am the Vice President of Economic Development at Coney Fall Line Technical College, which is the technical college that serves Lawrence County, where we are, and 10 other counties in the East Central Georgia area. So we have a very long and narrow service area. But all of you will have someone at your local technical college who does the same type of thing that I do, as well as the other areas that we'll probably talk about as far as the technical college is concerned. But my background has been in community and economic development. I worked for the University of Georgia, actually. I worked for the university system before I came to work with the technical college system. in the Public Service and Outreach Division there. So I worked on community and economic development as a faculty member using resources from the university. And then I came, it'll be 4 years in September that I came to work at the technical college. And my title is a little bit of a misnomer. It's, as far as being the Vice President of Economic Development, what my job is to do is to take the resources of the college, much like I did with the university system, and how do we apply the resources of the technical college in community and economic development. It's my job to work with our local business and industry partners. It's my job to work with our local development authorities and chambers of commerce. And it's my job to get out there and help talk about what the technical college does. And you know, we really think that we are workforce development as far as how we fit in the hub. We do traditional general studies education, but we also do skilled and occupational trades. So we have areas of education from a technical certificate of credit, which is a short-term 3-month certificate academic credential, all the way up to an associate's degree. And we'll probably get into that a little bit more, but specifically what my department does is what we call non-credit training. So traditional continuing education training, customized training. We work with our local business and industry to do customized training for them, utilizing our academic resources or other resources that we have available to us. And then we also have an Office of Safety programs where we do largely MSHA training, mine safety training, but we also do OSHA, general safety, things like that. So we work with our business and industry really to do workforce training with whatever their need might be.
So my name's Jennifer Crutchfield. I'm the HR manager for Erdrich. Does anybody know where Erdrich is? No? So, just a couple. So it is a German company located here in Dublin. We make car parts for Mercedes, Audi, BMW, and whoever else would pay us to make a car part. So we do not do the hood or the trunk or something like that. We do the little intricate parts inside of a car. We specialize here in Dublin on the brake pistons as well as control arms for BMW and Mercedes and Audi. We also do seat rails for Ford F-150. We currently have about 160 employees. We have 5 facilities. There's 2 in Germany, one in the Black Forest area and one in Somodok. There's one in Czech Republic. And then in 2013, that's when we located to Dublin, Georgia. Ryan was a part of that process to bring us to the United States. We're the only one in the United States. And then we opened a plant in China in 2015. So we are a global company. My job here, of course, is HR manager, and I've been with the company for going on 5 years.
And I'm Ryan Waldrop. I have a couple of roles with the Georgia Department of Economic Development. I am the assistant director, head up our small business and entrepreneur team across the state. So we work with communities all over the state, from all corners of our state, large, small, rural, urban, ag, manufacturing, whatever the case may be, to help develop their entrepreneurial ecosystems across the state. And my small business fact for the day for you guys is this. You know, we see the headlines in the newspaper, and we talk about big businesses, and we talk about companies that employ lots and lots of people, and that's really exciting, and I'll agree to that. 99% of the businesses within the state of Georgia are considered to be small by the federal government, by the Small Business Administration. So that's really any employer that has less than 500 people. Now, I live in McCray. I live right down the road, 30 minutes down the road. 500 employees, that's a pretty big business to me. Can I get an amen on that? All right, y'all already listened. Good job. My mom taught school for 30 plus years, and you know, I know this is like the things like, teaching and instructing in front of a class and wondering if everybody's paying attention. Y'all don't ever feel that, do you? Yeah, okay. So, like I said, 99% of the businesses in the state are considered to be small. But here's the number I want you guys to take away. When you go back to your community, when you go home this afternoon and you ride around your town and look at the different businesses that are there, whether in your downtown area, your commercial corridors, maybe your industrial sectors, think about this. 76% of the employers within the state of Georgia right now have less than 10 employees. 76%. So think about your neighbors, think about maybe your family, people you go to church with, think about where they work, think about those that own businesses, think about those that have stuck their neck out and doing something. Now I say all of that to say this, workforce definitely impacts those small businesses just as much as it impacts our companies that have 150 and 160 employees and even more. Because you think about the businesses and you say, hey, I've got 10 employees. If you have one person that leaves, your turnover is 10%, just like that. So then you got to train people. You got to teach them for what they want to do, what you need them to do at the business and what their job is and that kind of thing. And you guys at the school level, whether it's at the high school or the middle school, even the elementary school, working with our students now, talking about soft skills, teaching them, what they need to do. That's the biggest thing to me, is my opinion. That's strictly Ryan Waltrip's opinion. Working with our students, working with our young people to make sure that they understand what it's like to come to work on time. What about these? Y'all got problems with these in your classrooms? How many students, you can see kids pulling these out? My kids go to Telfair County, or my oldest goes to Telfair County High School, and they get onto them pretty good. They see a cell phone. I think it's taken away immediately and all kinds of other fun stuff. And you got to go to the office, and then mom and dad get called and all that. We've not gotten a phone call yet, so that's good job, for that. But, that's a big thing is technology. Although it's great, kids have their nose stuck in this all the time. Well, guess what? If you're working on a manufacturing floor, you can't do that. You've got to pay attention to that machine. You've got to pay attention to that press. And do you ever have a chance? Have anybody been in a manufacturing facility lately? Awesome, excellent. It's probably not what you imagined going into it, was it? I mean, did you learn something? Maybe it was a little more amazing and more high-tech. I know over at Erdrich, the presses are huge. They're massive. You've got to pay attention to what you're doing. You've got to pay attention to what, the people around you are doing and all that. And whether you're walking in the front door or working, somewhere on the manufacturing floor, you've got to pay attention 100% of the time. And you can't do that looking at a cell phone. So soft skills certainly are important. Coming to work on time, dressing appropriately, things of that nature. How to get along with people. That's a big thing too. With how to get along with someone that's got a different opinion than you. We see on social media. I think I'm on a soapbox now. We can't disagree and still realize that hey we understand where you're coming from and we can just agree to disagree. It starts almost a confrontation. So anyway, all that being said, workforce is critical. We see that every day, whether it's a small business, a small industry, or a large manufacturer that has international roots and international operations as well. It's all critical. It's critical to what we're doing in the state of Georgia. It's critical for us to continue to maintain our #1 state in the nation to do business, hoping for year number 7 coming up here towards the end of the year. So we'll talk a little bit more about some things that site consultants and companies are looking at when they're looking at siting a new location or looking to help the company decide where to grow, when to grow, how to grow. We'll talk about a couple other factors that they look at as well, I'm sure, in the next hour or so.
If you're in the market for affordable transportation, come on in to Dublin Auto Sales. Getting to work, school, or around town every day requires dependable transportation. And that's what you'll find at Dublin Auto Sales, offering in-house financing too, so credit is never an issue. See Wayne Kemp or any of his friendly staff. Bill Topping, Alan Fields, TJ DeRochi. Look for Dublin Auto Sales at 1705 Telfair Street and 406 North Jefferson. And also at 511 North Jefferson, where you'll find a great deal. Dublin Auto Sales, affordable transportation you can count on.
Come to Roach Farm and Garden and take home something beautiful. Our Gardens by the River has an excellent selection of statuaries, bird baths, fountains, and a wide variety of flowers, fruit trees, and shrubs. Or come inside and take a look at our decorative accents. Our friendly staff will help you find just what you need for your next outdoor project. And we carry those unique items that are hard to find. Come visit us today. Roach Farm and Garden, Dublin.
Roach Farm and Garden, growing traditions.
So through your lens, let's kind of start talking around where workforce is going. Kind of share the audience with your perspective around what are the current and future industry workforce needs.
Well, certainly industries are going more high tech. There's a lot more computerization. There's a lot more automation coming into different things, and the more times you get the chance to go out and visit manufacturers, whether it's in your area that you're particularly teaching in your community, or maybe it's in a neighboring community, or even other communities across the state, I encourage you to do that, because every time I've been doing this for 12 years, working for the state of Georgia for 12 years, and before that I was a local economic developer, and even before that I wrote grant and loan applications at the local regional commission here in our region. But every time I've been able to go into a manufacturing facility or distribution facility, I still learn something new. I see something that I've never seen before, and conversations that we have not only with the leadership, but also the people that are working on the floor always yield something new that I can bring back and another experience that I can take forward to someone else. One thing that's always stuck with me, several years ago, we were visiting a very large manufacturer in the region, and they have a sprawling plant. It's a very big facility. And we were talking with the management. He said, the thing that I have the hardest time finding people to do is industrial maintenance. That's my #1 driver right now. I can find people to do everything else within the facility, but industrial maintenance is a thing. And I said, well, tell me what kind of, what's so difficult about it? What are your wages? That kind of thing. He says, well, the thing is, if it's hot, they're going to be hot. If it's cold, they're going to be cold. If it's raining, they're going to get wet, because a lot of the work is outside and doing things like that. He says, but Ryan, I'll tell you this, those guys are making 6 figures. And that floored me, because we're talking someone that, one that has to be able to apply themselves and has to have the drive, and, it has to be the right fit for that person. I couldn't do it. I can't take two 2x4s and nail them together and get them to stay together more than a couple hours to save my life. But if you have that adaptive, or that ability, and you have that drive to be able to do that, and you know how to weld, you know how something about plumbing and electrical work and all these other components that go in industrial management, you can make a phenomenal living for you and your family, and not come out of school with, debt after debt after debt for student loans, right? So that's something that's really good. So this plant manager was telling me industrial maintenance is what we're looking for, okay? And site consultants are doing this as well. They're looking at different things. So we talk about the trends of where, this is going and how important workforce is when we talk about new companies that are coming to town. There's a survey that was done by Area Development Magazine. It's done every year, and they survey CEOs, they survey human resource managers, chief financial officers, site consultants, decision makers in companies that are either considering a location or just made a successful location. And last year, for 2018, the #1 issue that they looked at, the #1 driver for their location, was available workforce. Used to in real estate, what's the mantra in real estate? Location, location, location. In the past, that was it. They wanted to see the location. They wanted to make sure it was a perfect geographic fit for their industry or for their business or for their distribution center or whatever it was they were looking at doing. But now it's moved to workforce. If they can find the right workforce in a community, they'll figure out how to make the location work. So workforce is critical, and it starts with you guys at the local school system, at the local level, to help bring up those students, to help bring up people with those soft skills, with that ability to say, hey, look, I want to learn how to do something new. So it's helping to develop those students and bring them into the fold. So automation is big. We're seeing a lot more where people have to think on their feet and be able to do certain things, working with those PLCs and other fun technological things, robotic welders and robots doing a lot of different things, but also it's making sure we have that workforce available in each community.
From the HR perspective side of it, and hiring people, our biggest concern is the skilled labor is not there, it's not producing. I think it's either in high school, you either got a student that's either going the college route, or they don't really know what they want to be in when they grow up. So we've got to catch that group that is really kind of uncertain. I think kids know in high school whether they're going to be college bound or not. They either have the drive to do it or they don't have to do it. So I think as teachers, if y'all could help us, is I guess find those students that really doesn't know and kind of hone in on those students and let them know what opportunities are out there. I can only speak personally for what Erdrich is doing. We saw the lack of skills. We saw the lack of people coming out of, or students coming out of high school. How do we get to those students? How can we get them on board with us? We have, as like Brian said, we have machines at our the presses, the CNC machines. Those are very mechanical-minded jobs. I mean, mechanical-minded people needs to have those skills to do it. They can be taught, yes, But we really partner with the Oconee Fall Line Technical College because they have the education behind it, so that when they come into the workforce, they know the intricacies behind that to do the job. Eric Canada, unfortunately he's not here today, but he is a big supporter of the apprenticeship program, me getting it going. But he actually works for Career Academy here from the Delaware City Schools. So Eric and I started working, and we have an apprenticeship program now. We're very, very proud of it. We're actually going into our 3rd year. We have 7 students, and we'll add 3 more in August. So what we do is we come into the school systems, we talk to every 10th grader, or we try to talk to every 10th grader. We're trying to tell them the opportunity that's out there for them. These kids are soaking up this information. I mean, it is unreal. I am so proud of this project. If I like die today, this is my favorite project that I've done. So, because it's so rewarding. So the 2nd year they come in and they work, they go to school 3 days a week and they come in to work 2. We pay them $13 an hour. And then the 3rd year, and by this time they've graduated from high school, so in their last is 3 days at the college, or 2 days at the college, 3 days with us. And then they'll finish the program. They will have a college education or a diploma from Oconee Fall Line Technical College in machine technology. We have also told these people that we're investing in your future. We want you to come to work with us. I don't know, in case y'all may know somewhere else, I don't know where else you can get a better deal. So you have pretty much a guaranteed job and pretty much an education. So we do have some incentives along with this program. If they maintain a 4.0 average, we will give them a $1,000 bonus after the program. If they have a 3.5, we'll do a $500 bonus. We give them uniforms. They're treated just like employees. We provide their safety shoes. And it's also helping my workforce because they have the chance to come in and mentor these kids. So it's a win-win situation for both of it. So I hope that helps.
It's that time of year, time to fire up the grill, relax, and have some fun. Whether you're a grill master or a wannabe, the Big Green Egg will change the way you think about cooking. Georgia Pools has a large selection from which to choose. They carry a wide variety of accessories too, from charcoal, starters, to grilling tools, seasonings, and sauces. Get your own Big Green Egg cooking system for as low as $58.83 per month. And while you're waiting on that perfect steak to cook, relax in your very own Pawleys Island hammock. What better way to spend the summer days ahead? When you're thinking of grilling and chilling, think Georgia Pools, located at 1201 Hillcrest Parkway in Dublin. Call Georgia Pools at 275-3607.
Hi, I'm Anna Grace with Myers Equipment and Supply, your dealer for the complete line of Can-Am side-by-sides and ATV products. For hunting, farming, or riding the trails, Can-Am has the models you need. If you like a little sport to your ride, choose the versatile Can-Am Commander. With the best-in-class power and versatility, this side-by-side features the essentials that change the off-road landscape. Industry-leading performance, precision-engineered handling, and rider-focused design are all on display every time you hit the throttle. Come into Myers Equipment today and see the full line of Can-Am ATVs and side-by-sides. Can-Am, the ride says it all.
We were talking a little bit about the types of work that is kind of coming in the future. What does the future of work look like? We talked about high tech, we talked about manufacturing, specifically industrial maintenance, some distribution, transportation, logistics things. So looking at it through the lens of the TCSG and partnering with your business partners and industry partners, what other industries are you seeing a high demand, high need in the short and long-term futures?
A lot of people probably aren't aware that the technical colleges, the programs that technical colleges offer, have to be in relation to what the workforce needs of their service area are. So we have programs that are different from technical colleges around us, and they have programs that we don't have. But when we talk with our businesses and when we talk with our development authorities and our chambers, and we have interest in certain program areas, we have to show that the jobs are there. I say that to say that the vast majority of our programs that we currently have, we have a lot of the same problems that the businesses that come to us saying we need employees. You know, I've gotten to the point where I almost say, and we need the students. You know, we need the students in that area. And we'll probably get to it a little bit later, but one of the things we're really focusing on is working with our local high schools in our service area to build that pipeline, like Jennifer talked about, and we'll probably talk a little bit about that later. But as far as to directly answer your question, the areas that we see the most need in, and those are the areas that I would say we're hearing the companies holler the loudest. Holler, that's a technical term. Where we're getting the push from industry right now, commercial truck driving, industrial maintenance and industrial systems, absolutely. And part of industrial maintenance and industrial systems are kind of subcategories: PLCs, electronics, robotics, welding, of course. I realize this is probably a very heavy STEM group, but healthcare programs are huge in our area. You know, commercial truck driving is one of those that's kind of interesting because for a lot of the small trucking companies in our service area, they can't hire kids right out of high school. And so one of the success stories we'll talk about in a little while is how are we creative for some of these job areas where kids might not be able to just walk out of high school and walk onto the manufacturing floor. How do we keep them engaged and keep them out of trouble so that they can successfully pass their CDL and drive a truck a little bit later? Those are probably the areas that we see the most. We have some areas where we're getting requests for workforce that we don't currently offer training for. I recently met with a company in the timber business, looking at forestry management, that type of thing. You know, this area, we're the wood basket, Ryan. And so that's an area that we're looking at. I've recently talked with some power providers in our service area about lineman training. That's something we get a request for all the time. But then when we look at, you know, we did a survey recently of the companies, and they're saying, well, we may hire 3 in the next 10 years. Well, you know, we can't add a program, and my educators in the room will probably understand SACS accreditation and all those sorts of things. We can't add a program for 3 students to go into the workforce for the next 10 years. So we have to look at creative ways to address those workforce needs, and that's some things that we look at in terms of short-term training, customized training, things like that.
I also wanted to just make sure we were on the mark, and we absolutely are with the conversations, and they weren't prompted to say any of those things. They were their experiences, the work that they're doing in their communities, and what they're hearing directly from businesses all the way through the education sector. And what they've talked about statistically absolutely lines up with where the workforce data is showing us information. Where we know jobs are being created, jobs are still being created, and opportunities will continue to be in the future. We hit on them a little earlier, and Mickey, I'm gonna pick on you for this one. Gaps. So we heard soft skills, we heard showing up to work, putting your cell phone down, things along those lines. You're talking with your communities on a daily basis. What are you hearing from those communities those gaps are?
So a number of things. I do want to jump back to the previous question just for a minute. One of the things that we hear all the time, and I was a teacher, so taking it from a teacher's heart, right, is we have a heartburn when it comes to telling a kid that we need to go to technical school and get a technical degree because, well, where's that job going to take you? What happens if that industry changes and leaves in 5, 6, 7 years? And when you think about technology, think how rapidly it's changed. 8 years ago, who would have known there was a such job as an app creator? Think about it. How many of you heard the word coding 8 years ago? How rapidly do jobs change in our country? And that's what we're seeing at an accelerated pace. So one of the mindsets that we have got to change, and even in our workforce, and you guys, how many, well, I'll date myself. I would have been in this for 25 years. I've been out 17 years in it. How many of you are still teaching the same curriculum that you did when you started? Exactly. How many of you are consistently learning new skills in your profession? How many of you would say your profession has changed since you started? So the mindset that we get is we get a 4-year degree, we're going to do the same thing. But it's not true. We're constantly learning new skills and applying those skills. And that's the mindset we have to apply for our technical jobs. It's okay to learn a new skill. So what we really need to connect and create for our students is the ability to learn and apply new skills. And that's something we've got to teach them. It's a lifelong learner, but it's not necessarily learning book content as applied knowledge. So would you go back now? I had to jump on that a little bit because that's what I hear. But so the gaps, and going back to the gap piece. So one of the larger gaps is one of the ones I want to talk about is that workforce gap, and both of you guys talked about it a little bit. Is if we look at data here from the Governor's Office of Student Achievement. If you look at your 6-year cohort, how many of your students are graduating with 4-year degrees? Have you looked at that? Any of you looked at that data? How many are graduating with a technical degree? How many of them after that 6-year cohort have no skills? And so we're not talking about the kids that are going to college or to technical college. We're talking about those students who may not necessarily qualify for dual enrollment. They're the ones that we're losing. And Lawrence County knows, I shared these statistics with them. In this community, it's around 35%. But when we look at even our more affluent communities, it's still pretty large gap. Because those students don't have direction. So the gap that I see when it comes to workforce are the students from 18 to 27 that don't have direction because they didn't really know where they needed to go. So your job as an educator is, how do I influence or open their eyes to jobs in my community? Now, you say, I have one more job, right? What else have I got to put on my plate? Well, I was a director of a engineering magnet school. And I had no ideas that industries out there could have used my students for internships or co-ops or summer experiences. Why? Because I lived in my silo. I worked as hard as I could for my students to teach those skills, but I never reached out to industry because I didn't know who to reach out to. And so when Ryan talked about those small businesses, and you may have a work-based learning coordinator, you may have a CTAE director, some of you don't have that privilege in your schools. Some of you may not be even CTAE, but how does it apply? Well, how do we get those students connected early on to something that will pique their interest? And it may not be the technical career that they want to be in. They may learn those soft skills. One of the things we're missing are introductory jobs. The gap, go back to the gap, kids don't learn soft skills because they no longer work summer jobs. Summer jobs have value. They teach soft skills. They teach you to show up on time. They teach you how to deal with the public, work with others. We quit allowing our students to do that, or we don't have those opportunities. And I won't go for year-round school or whatever else, but I do believe that we limit our students' opportunities to learn soft skills because of how we structure our education system. I don't know what the answer to it is because I understand the benefit of going year-round. I'm just saying that's a problem that we really need to look at and how do we address it. So that's a gap that we see from the soft skill. We don't, and we try, but how do we truly, with the new standards the way they are and the way it reflects, how do we help students truly work through a problem? You got a difficult situation, and here's the one that a lot of students hiccup on, especially if they're the one in the classroom that hates to make less than 100. Y'all know those, y'all smile because y'all know. Is how to get a wrong answer and be happy with it. Right? Or so those technical, that linear thinking, how to work through the steps of a problem and get to a logical conclusion. That's on any level when it comes to technical skills. Because how do you take a product, take sheet metal, take it to a press, and work through this step to get there? How do I take a design and make it better from a CNC or machine perspective? HVAC, diagnostics. I mean, you talk about electricians and HVAC people that come out every day. Those are gaps that we're missing from an education perspective. I'm not putting blame. I'm just saying that's where we are. And we've got to change the way we are a little bit in education to get those experiences. So the electrical thinking, HVAC, any kind of really aptitude, technical skill is where we're missing those skills gaps. And it comes from hands-on. So I would say the more hands-on you can make your students. And sometimes it makes us terrified as teachers. Let's be honest, right? Because sometimes we're teaching content that we don't know ourselves to the best of our abilities. Fair enough? But that's where also you can bring in an industry partner and say, hey, I don't really understand this. Help me. But how do we challenge those students to grow if we're not ourselves growing and challenged? But we're scared to get out there and get our hands dirty and everything else. But pushing students to move through that process of learning. And that's how we create those learners. So any of those technical skills, the computer skills, the coding, we know the state just passed the whole computer science part, right? It's there, and it's going to be broad curriculum, all the way across from English down to math and wherever else. How do we integrate those?
So I'm sorry, and I applaud everything that you all have said, but our hands are tied. The state can redo the curriculum, but if the state and the counties and the school systems aren't investing in the infrastructure, I mean, I'm 1-to-1 in my school, but my science labs look like when I went to school. So, you know, you're getting them based on, and when I say them, our students based on what we have to give.
So, a little challenge.
And I went to a school board meeting last night and I said the same thing. You guys just, you know, you spend all this money on these 1-to-1 devices and I'm happy. But I need some probes. I need some computer programs. You know, I came from a school system once upon a when the infrastructure came in and they brought all this industry in that they gave back to the systems. And a lot of times we're working in, you know, you're bringing the population in, but the infrastructure is crumbling. So, bravo in what you're saying, but we need some help too.
And so I would ask that. So challenge support, great challenge, well received, and that's, I know it's outside of what you can do, but how many of those industries or business partners have you reached out to?
None. I got a
And
list
so,
right now.
and that's what, so Erdrich, as a matter of fact, with our College Career Academy, donated machinery and equipment. And so in Dublin, for instance, Jay stepped out. They didn't have a welding program in Dublin. So they actually had 3 companies give over $50,000 from the business sector to start a welding program because they needed those. So a lot of times, go back to our silos, we live in that silo because, you know, we just get frustrated. I'm with you, I was there, but we don't necessarily know who to reach out to. And that's where I'm gonna bring the challenge back to you guys is when you leave here, write that list. Who do I need to work with? Who do I need to speak with? Who can help us?
At Hangers Cleaners in Dublin, we really appreciate your business and strive for customer service and a better quality every single day. That's what we're here for. At Hangers Cleaners, we'll pick up and deliver right to your door, saving you time and money. Hangers Cleaners for all your fine linens, alterations, wedding gowns, leather, you name it, and we'll do it. Hangers Cleaners for your professional dry cleaning and laundry. Hangers Cleaners, the cleaner that cares. Hillcrest Parkway in Dublin.
To so many of you who count on us for your prescription medication needs, I'd like to thank you for your years of trust. To those who've yet to choose Tomlinson Pharmacy and Medical Park Pharmacy, I invite you to stop by and discover what makes us different.
Medical Park Pharmacy is your family's one-stop destination for their prescription, health, and wellness needs. Our staff greets you with a smile and provides a level of customer care and expert service that truly sets us apart. Realizing your time is valuable, we'll always strive to have your prescriptions filled in minutes, not hours. Have a concern about a new medication? Our pharmacists are available to discuss the instructions and precautions. In addition, Medical Park Pharmacy also stocks a wide array of over-the-counter medications and medical supplies. With the drive-through window, free delivery within city limits, and refills through our phone IVR website or mobile phone app, staying healthy has never been so convenient. At Medical Park Pharmacy, local owners Wendell and Wendy Smith provide hands-on service to ensure your satisfaction. We care about earning your business and strive to make you a regular customer. Come experience a difference. Visit Medical Park Pharmacy today.
Some Board of Educations don't necessarily like you to ask and reach out for help. They don't want to appear that they are not supplying us with what we need.
So, and I'll speak to my role, and that is exactly my role that I'm doing now in community development, and Jay knows this. I'm bringing direct challenge to our business leaders, not necessarily to the school, that, hey guys, school system's in their silo because they're trying to turn out graduates.
Right.
You've got to reach across. If there's a workforce issue, you now, as the business and community leaders, you need to be leaders and say, how do we help you? Because it doesn't just affect your school, it affects employees coming in. Right. So that challenge is coming from us back to our communities to say, quit waiting for the schools to reach out. You need to go to them and say, let's partner. Fair enough?
Yes.
So that's coming from us. I can promise you from Georgia Power, that's coming from us daily.
And I'll just add to that, one thing that we see, and we probably could, our industry partner here could probably add to that, but I think that as school systems, as teachers, with the flexibility that you have, now is a ripe time for business and industry engagement in our schools, because they are having to step completely out of their comfort zone to help train their potential future workforce. And so I think that's something that we're seeing. You know, we're in one of our communities, the college was brought in by the local school system to be actively engaged with a business and industry roundtable group to look at what programs are we offering. Well, let me back up. What programs are being offered in the high school through CTAE? And this is just an example. What programs is the technical college offering? Where is there a gap in the middle? What are we offering at the high school that there's no post-secondary option for our students? What are we offering at the college that there's no K-12 option for the students? How can we work to build that pipeline so that between high school programs and college programs, they don't fall through the cracks somewhere, that there's a seamless transition, and that opens up a whole other conversation about dual enrollment and those sorts of things. That's a prime opportunity to get students while they're in high school in these skilled programs that are going to transition on into post-secondary. But business and industry is a huge component of that, and they were a huge component of that discussion, but it was because the local school system brought them in. I recognize that. So you have to have that willingness, I think, from that end as well.
Okay, now everyone, we have Joseph Lillyblad. And Joseph, tell us your title with Georgia Power.
So I'm the Education and Workforce Development Manager here supporting Georgia Power.
Okay, so what does that entail for you?
What does that entail?
Yeah.
It really is a combination of things. One of our main staples is our Learning Power program, and we really have the opportunity to be across the state. We've got 16 education coordinators who are going into the classroom and supporting the educational organizations. We're wanting to really give teachers resources and students access to energy and energy efficiency. When we look at that, it's all STEM-based, and we actually align with the Georgia Department of Education Standards of Excellence. So we're going in and giving curriculum and actually facilitating that curriculum to supplement the programs that the teachers are doing in classrooms now. All of our focus is around energy and energy efficiency. And then we also want to create opportunities so students understand the knowledge they're gaining can lead to careers in the future. So supporting teachers with career development and workforce development, as well as what we can do to support students to understand there are interests they may not be aware of, but by meeting one of our education coordinators and understanding what it is we do at Georgia Power, gives them an opportunity to think differently about their career paths.
Now, Joseph, STEM-based education is nothing new, so it sounds like Georgia Power is plugged in on an effort or a standard of education that's been in existence.
Absolutely.
You just help to develop it.
As a business, STEM is at the core of what we do, from a science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. We have a large workforce of engineers and mathematicians and folks doing STEM work in the real world. And so this is a perfect opportunity for us to tie that connection together with the STEM you're learning in the classroom and how you can apply that to long-term career paths.
So powering education, how long has this effort been in effect?
This organization, the Learning Power organization, has been around since 2011. And so we started out a little smaller, so the group has grown, but really what we've been focusing on is how we can support all four corners of the state. What can we do to ensure we're in communities that don't have the resources, but also the communities that have the resources but might not have the information? So we've grown the program from 3rd, 5th, and 8th grade to now pre-K through 12, and ensuring that we're bringing in useful tools, techniques, interactive modalities that we can give a new perspective. You know, one of the lessons we have is around nuclear energy. Well, a lot of that is just learning information, getting people to understand what it is, and having some interactive tools so they understand what not just the nuclear process is, but what it's like to be at a nuclear power plant.
All right, Joseph. Thank you for what Georgia Power does, and thank you
Glad
for what
to be
you're
part
doing.
of the community.
Good to
Thank
see
you so much.